everybody.
Woohoo!
We're back.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to Queer Bee Dragons. It's been a minute, and I'm so excited that we're here again. Yay! Wow, gosh, what do we have to say? We're gonna pretty much jump right into it today. We don't have any like fancy announcements or anything. Chris, you want to tell the people the stuff? I
You're
just
muted.
blindsided you. You're
Yeah.
welcome. Uh,
You're muted. We can't hear you.
you're on mute.
But I guess
No.
spacebar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good.
there you are. Yeah. I like how when somebody's on mute, we all yell more loudly
Yeah.
as if they're going to have trouble here. You're muted.
So, welcome to Queer Bee Dragons. Catch us every other Sunday live on Twitch or catch up on our YouTube and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, at Queer Bee Dragons. And sorry for the little hiatus we've been on. Back to our potentially a semi-regular schedule.
Yeah.
We all have lives.
Mhm.
There's been
Sorry,
stuff.
sorry, guys. You know.
Oops, we're real people.
Yeah. Oh darn, we all have jobs.
But yeah, we're about halfway through our sort of like mini campaign here. And yeah, this is our 7th episode, I believe, which is very exciting. There should be one of those. There should be, yeah, between maybe like probably 11 or 12 episodes. So stick around. And yeah, I think we're ready to go. Halo, over to the intro.
Thank God.
Finger gun.
And we're back again.
Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, we are. Let's see here. Oh, we have what we do is we do our recaps so that your DM, do not have to do them. One of our players. That's not actually why. It's actually I think more interesting because we do them in character. And so today's recap is going to be done by Fibbit, I believe.
Me.
So go ahead and take it away.
Okay. Dear Diary, today we saw Mick again, and he gave us a bunch more. We gave him items, and he gave us back items, and it was really nice. I liked the part where his hands put stuff in my hands. Anyway, so we got a potion of climbing, and then a buckle that makes you smarter, and a poncho of dryness. And that was cool. I don't know what I need. I don't like climbing, so I'll probably give that away. And then we were like, hey, let's go talk to Red, because everybody says Red is not cool, and I'm like pretty sure they say they don't hate him, but it seems like they do. So it might be, I don't really understand, but it might be one of those things where like people don't say what they're thinking for some reason, which makes it real hard to understand what people are saying. But we were gonna go talk to him, but he already went to the island. He already was on his way, which I thought was great. He's gonna just handle it for us, but apparently that's not, it wasn't good. Everybody else said it wasn't good, so I guess we gotta go after him, because apparently he was gonna die. But I don't know, because aren't sheriffs supposed to handle these things? Very confusing. So we go over to the shore, but he's already gone. He took the boat, which was very selfish of him, but I guess I don't know how he would swim. So I guess it makes sense. But it was very inconvenient for us. But while we were looking for signs of the direction where he went, I saw some ants. And they were just so little, and they were carrying these leaves that were so big. And how do they do that? And then I was like, I wonder what they taste like, but that's gross. I don't want to do that. But also, because sometimes they smell like bananas when I've noticed, which out of character, that's a real real people can smell ants sometimes. Anyway, in character, back, sorry. Anyway, that's gross. I don't like it. But the leaves that they were holding looked really nice. So because Red took the boat, me and Devin couldn't go to the island, so Quell and Ahalin went ahead of us, which is just fine because they're really good in a fight, and I would rather Devin be with me. So, which is cool. So I got to go see Ursula, but to go get her boat. But then, and then I thought about Pie, but apparently we don't have time for Pie because Red is already at the island. So I have to wait until afterward to eat Pie, which it's fine. But Ursula promised that I can have Pie when I get back, so I guess it's fine. And Ursula also swims because she is a very good swimmer. While me and Devin went to the island on a boat, and the boat was less scary this time than it was last time. But I still don't like the way it rocks. It makes my stomach rock with it. I don't like that feeling. And then I don't know what happened when Ahelin and Quell got onto the island because I'm not privy to that information from where I was. But if I were to imagine what happened when Quell and Ahelin went to the island, I would imagine that Ahelin would find footprints from Red, and while Quell flies above the island and to also look for him. But so eventually we all meet up, and after a lot of deliberation, Ursula tells us that we can just sneak up to the cabin from the beach because she knows all the sneaky ways because it's her island. And apparently, so on a scale from 1 to 10, she said it was a 1 on if the stairs would break from all of our weight on it, which was not a 0, so I'm very concerned about that. But we were fine, which is very nice. And it was one of those weird situations where we said we were sneaking, but Devin sounded like a bunch of spoons clanking together, and I was talking to her. I wasn't done talking. Thank you, new follower. And then we found a door that probably had a landmine behind it. So we spent, no joke, a full hour debating on how to get into the house, which was fine with me. Any amount of time outside of that house was real nice for me. But eventually we get in there and it's trashed, which I don't like very much, and Ursula was very upset about it. But now I guess we get to find answers. The end. Hopefully I don't die. Love, Fibbit.
Was this a diary entry? Did this start Dear Diary?
Yeah.
That's incredible. It's just like pages and pages and pages.
Fibbit has a lot of thoughts.
It's true. It's true. Thank you, Halo. That was incredible. You all find yourselves, you are in the house that Ursula, the bear folk, rents out as it's an Airbnb. She likes to call it a water B&B because it's on a little island. And the inside, as Halo described, has been trashed. And we left you at the entrance to the study in the front area of the house. There had been a couple of magical signatures that you had noticed on Detect Magic. I believe Devin had, and a couple of them were coming from this room. So you all headed there and found just an absolutely trashed room. Sorry, I'm repeating a little bit of this, but to give you an idea of the details so that you can figure out what you want to take a look at. There are a couple of desks in this room. One of them has been broken, like totally shattered and destroyed. It's like a smaller antique looking desk. There's a larger desk that looks maybe handmade or homemade, made of very sturdy, strong planks of wood that is intact and has there's papers on the floor underneath the desk. There's scattered notes and things elsewhere on the rug. There are a couple of bookshelves in this room. One of them has been toppled over and there are books scattered across the floor. Let me think if I'm missing any details. Yeah, so that's pretty much, there's a couple of desks and the bookshelves. There's a big rug. There's a couple of, oh my, what was that?
This is actually very good. We are actually having a raid from
Hey!
the compound. Hi, the compound. Thank you so much. Hi, raiders. You guys are coming
What's
in at
up?
literally the best time. We are just starting.
We're literally just starting. I've just described the study, the trashed study, and my lovely players here are going to figure out what they want to take a look at. Ursula, the bear folk, is standing behind you all. She can see above almost all of your heads except for Devin because you're a big lady, and just like looking horrified. If you glance back at her, she just like her jaw is dropped and just looking totally horrified. And she says, well, this was my daddy's study back when we lived here. What happened in here?
Alan will walk over to her and just kind of pat her gently on her shoulder.
I don't know why somebody would do this.
They're clearly
Sorry.
looking for something.
I still have Detect Magic up for a while, so I think I'm gonna start like looking at the magical. If I see anything with the shimmery magicness in this room, I will go to look at it
Okay.
because I'm trying to keep us safe. And I feel bad, but I'm trying to keep us safe, so I have to prioritize.
I'll
That's
just
fair.
pat her a couple more times, and then I'm going to sit down on the floor and start looking through the papers.
Okay. Make me an investigation check, please, Ahlin. And Devin, I will let you know there are a few magical objects in this room. Underneath the broken antique desk, there is a what looks like a carpet bag, like a suitcase kind of thing, like a real old-fashioned kind of bag. And there's something magical in there.
Okay.
There's a little stone on the desk, the larger handmade, big, bulky desk that looks like the one that you found in Ushi's what's that? Oh my god, why am I forgetting what the little box
His
of
metal
treasures
box.
that he
Yeah.
that he hid.
Mhm.
And it's a little piece of pumice stone wrapped up, looks just like the one you guys found, which you know is a object used to amplify spell components or spells.
Yep.
And let's see what else. A couple of the books are magical as well,
Okay.
that are on the floor.
Okay. All right. I will gather all of them up and put them in the middle of the room. And I'll let Alan do her investigation check.
There's also a faint magical glow coming from the surface of the large desk.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Do you want to go take a look at it and then we can do? I
Yes.
assume Devin would probably, because she's gathering from off the desk. You're gathering the little stone.
Mm-hmm.
As you approach the desk, you can see that the whole surface of it has been almost like graffitied. So it's covered in writing, scribbled notes, the actual wooden surface of the desk, scribbled notes, little drawings, and a couple of arcane circles, which sort of overlap or look like overlapping circles with various inscriptions, runes written around them. There are burn marks on the top of this desk centered in those arcane circles. They're circles of different sizes. It looks like, yeah, somebody was making crazed notes, or
is it in like, is it potentially in a language maybe I can recognize a little? I know, I'll tell you the languages I know so you don't have to tell me. Elvish, Giant, Halfling, and Undercommon.
Elvish, Giant, Halfling, and Undercommon. Let me double check here.
That way you don't have to get that.
No, you do not recognize the language.
Don't recognize the language.
I would like to, I guess, approach the runes and the circles and stuff. Those are written down, correct?
Mm-hmm.
They're carved.
Okay.
Carved. Some with like what looks like a blade, maybe carved into the table or the desktop surface, and some with pens.
Okay.
And pencil. A few different things.
Okay, cool. I would like to do an Arcana check on them.
Yeah, okay. You would have just seen me like grabbing the stone and then like clearing the desk off and like being really confused while looking at all of this.
I think I will also, okay, I guess I will roll first and decide if I want to use my...
And after we look at the desk, Ahlin, I've not forgotten about you. We'll get back to the other stuff elsewhere in the room, but we'll do the desk for now.
Okay, hold on. So that's a 10, but what I am going to do is Fibbit, looking at it with confusion and a little bit of frustration, will clutch their talisman. And I am going to use my Pact of the Talisman thing, where I get to add an extra d4 to the roll.
Okay.
Which is a 4. Okay, so 10. So that goes from a 10 to a 14.
To a 14. Okay, great. You, at this point, have seen a few different sort of residual effects of this, and you recognize that the scorch marks on the table are radiant damage.
Ooh.
With a 14, you're not sure exactly what these are, these arcane circles, but they look similar to ones that you saw elsewhere on the island.
Okay.
It's ringing a bell.
Okay.
There had been some large circles on the deck by the dock down at the waterside.
Okay.
There's also one other object on the desk. It is a absolutely flawless spherical diamond.
Whoa.
That can fit in the palm of Fibbit's paw. It's pretty small in your hand, Devin.
I'm a big lady.
You're a big lady.
Right.
Yeah. None of you have ever seen anything this perfect and beautiful. It's set in a little metal ring that looks like you could hang it from something if you wanted to.
Okay. And it's magical?
It is not.
It's just pretty.
Inherently magical. It's just very pretty and strange. And yeah, not like anything you've ever seen. Okay, so that is the desk. Ahlin, you start looking through the books that have been scattered from the bookcases. There are two types of books that you find as you're sorting through all this. You're starting to notice some patterns. The first type of book is you see a variation of volumes on like homesteading, cabin building, field guides to local insects, guides to wintertime foraging, a book on how to create a composting toilet that's like suspiciously grubby, so you don't touch that one, or maybe you do. Yeah, so there's a bunch of those types of books which are quite old and look well loved. The other type of book is academic. There are textbooks around. There are textbooks particularly on interplanar sciences. There's books on arcane theory. There are, you find some composition books that have been torn apart that are full of complex looking mathematical equations and arcane equations. You find books on the Shadowfell and the Feywild. You find a book on uses for, there's a couple books on uses for different spells, one of which is Dimension Door. You find a book, a very complicated, thick looking book that is specifically on the Gate spell, which is a very, very high level spell that you are probably not familiar with. But this all looks like academic materials, specifically revolving around the planes of existence. And Ursula will come and start scooping up the like homesteading kind of books and trying to put them back on the shelf. She's going to try to heave the bookcase upright and start trying to reshelve the books.
Was there anything in the paperwork that was on the floor as well?
It looks like it's mostly scattered pieces of the composition books, the notebooks.
Okay.
All written in the same hand. These are all written by one person, all of these notebooks.
Okay. Ahelen will kind of neatly start stacking the books, but will look over her shoulder towards Fibbit. I think some of these might be up your alley, Fibbit. These look really complex, and I think you more have the taste in this kind of stuff.
What? I hate learning things, he says
Really?
as he takes it from you.
Well,
Now, are those the magical books that I had an eye on?
Yes, there are
Just
two
double checking. So
in particular.
One thing I forgot to mention earlier when Devin was trying to, I think, read the runes.
God, read the runes, Devin.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I forgot because it's been a minute since we played. I can read all writing. That is my ability.
Oh, do you have Eyes of the Fancy Person?
Eyes of the Rune Keeper, specifically
That's
runes.
the one.
I can read them.
Amazing. Incredible. Okay. You take a closer look, again, just like shake your head and refocus. It's like looking at a magic eye book.
Yes.
Where you're like trying to refocus in the right way to read what's in front of you. The arcane circles and all of the notes revolve around the planes, the different planes of existence, specifically the elemental plane of radiance. Specifically, what is it called? Positive quasi-elemental plane of radiance. And you don't have advanced knowledge of this kind. You have not studied this kind of thing, but there's clearly some shifty, radiant interplanar stuff happening here.
Yeah, that's fair. Fibbit has never willingly learned anything in their entire life. Okay, Fibbit will relay that information. He like shakes his head and then points at it and looks at Devin. Quasi radiant elemental plane circle. That's what that says. It says, I would like to go here, is what it says. Maybe. Or I would like to take this thing from here. I don't know. It's I can read it and understand it, but saying it in common, it makes it weird.
Yeah, you see essentially both of those things written
Yeah.
on the table. That is a correct assessment.
Cool.
Either I would want to go to here, or I want to take from here.
It has both of them, actually.
Well, that would make a lot of sense considering big boy outside was radiance.
Mm-hmm.
Quell, what are you doing? Anything particular?
Yeah, so I'm just kind of looking around the room, seeing if there's like anything maybe left behind by them that doesn't fit with the cabin aesthetic.
Okay, go ahead and make me an investigation check, please.
Ten.
10? Okay, great. You see the two primary things that catch your attention. One of them is the bag that Devin sort of pulled out from under the broken desk. Yeah, it looks like an antique. And there's also a messenger bag that you find dumped in a corner. It's made out of green wool, and it reminds you a little bit of the halfling that was dressed in all green that you guys encountered a couple of days back. Encountered, so to speak, and murdered. So yeah, there's those two things seem to have been brought in.
Fibbit is going to ignore that completely and start reading I guess the notebooks that have been, he would say, shoved into his hands, which is not what happened. And I guess kind of flip through those.
Yeah, there are two books in particular, Devin, that stood out to you when you sort of scanned the room magically. And they're in the stack that Fibbit was given. Fibbit, you start in on some of the composition books and notebooks, and it's just a lot of magic stuff. A lot of it seems like this is basically years and years worth of studying. There's a little book plate on the front of a couple of these books that says Alula University of Celestia, property of Professor Phino Scarab. Ursula looks over your shoulder and says, yeah, he was, I don't know exactly what he studied, but it was something fancy about magic and the different planes, I guess. He used to talk to me about it sometimes, but there's a point at which it just kind of becomes meow, 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 in your ears.
That happens to me most of the time when I'm talking to people. I get it.
But these are all his things, I suppose. Yeah, there's years of notes here. Fibbit, you would notice that the writing on the desktop is different than the writing in the composition books. The penmanship, the person who wrote those is different.
These are different. It's not the same person. This wasn't. This is Dr. Scarab. That's probably not Dr. Scarab. So that's probably who killed him. As they point to the writing on the ground. You know what? I bet what happened. I know what happened. I've solved the mystery. So, so I think Mr. Scarab, Dr. Scarab, Professor Scarab, he does plain research, and I think he was getting a little too close to the truth, and he had to be killed for his crimes.
Or
Oh, okay. Or
your very close. I think
Hmm.
he could have been killed for his knowledge.
Yeah, he was getting too close.
Yeah.
He was getting all his knowledge. He was getting too close, so they had to, and
I think they wanted his knowledge, not that he was getting too close. I think they wanted his knowledge. And they may have used him to get into wherever they were trying to go.
the quasi elemental plane of radiance.
They were
Or
using him as a guinea pig.
maybe they brought our friend outside in.
Yeah, well, this one, the runes for this one is both, so they could have probably taken that guy out. I bet they traded. They put something in and took that guy out because the rune circles for both.
Maybe.
Hmm.
Couldn't have been the professor, though. We found his bones in
Well,
the
yeah.
lake.
Evan, you have the highest passive,
Yes.
like wisdom.
Yes.
You
I'm wise as shit.
notice you're wise as shit. You notice there's as you're sort of wandering the room and as you guys are talking, there's a sort of a smell coming off of the broken desk. It's a little bit almost like smells like iron.
Off the desk.
Mhm.
Okay. I mean, can I make, I don't know, like a nature check or something? Like what,
Yeah,
or medicine?
for sure. Yeah, go
Like
ahead and
my
make
brain,
either one of those.
my brain says blood, but you know what? Who knows?
It could just be a knife,
Could be a knife.
a smelly knife.
Could be, could be. Which one do you want me to do? Nature or medicine? There is a difference.
Let's do medicine.
Medicine, that's will be a 16.
A 16. Yeah, you get closer to this shattered piece of furniture. It's blood. It smells like blood over here. And
Yeah.
as you crouch down to take a closer sniff, you can see there are blood splatters on the floor underneath the pieces of the desk, and some in the splintered wood as well. There's blood scattered across here. It's very dark. It's a strange color,
Okay.
almost purplish. Did you roll a 15?
16.
16.
16.
Yeah, you know that there are some creatures that have blood this color,
Uh-oh. Yeah.
including goblins.
Oh no.
I will relay this. There's blood.
So wait, do you mean he was killed before he was crisped up?
No, I bet he was used.
Oh, for the ritual?
I may have found the halfling's bag over here, and like just pointing to like the green canvas bag. I'm a little hesitant to open it because of all the little
While I'm looking
bomb
at it, is it
mines.
magical?
Ahlin's just gonna walk over there and start opening it.
Oh, perfect. Here you go.
There is. There's
Yeah.
nothing magical inside the bag. No, Devin, you're good.
Well, it's not magical, so.
Make a dexterity saving note. Ahlin opens the bag, and it's largely empty. There's a utility knife in here. There are some pieces of hardtack, like gross-looking biscuits, and a few crumpled up pieces of paperwork. One of them, as you unfold it, looks like some kind of mercenary contract for miscellaneous work performed. Probably the date looks like it's a little smudged, but it's like months ago. And then you also find a receipt that you unfold, and it is for 16 spell discs, and it is signed and stamped by Newless Atur of Cloventop General Store.
These might be kind of important. And the gross biscuits, are they like moldy or anything like that?
Yeah, they're starting to mold up.
She's gonna just like take a little nibble.
Yeah, it's good.
You
Just
guys,
the right amount of funk.
and she's gonna like kind of just toss the papers towards Devin.
I'm gonna grab the mercenary contract.
Okay.
She's gonna keep on eating those moldy biscuits.
Fibbit, like, very much.
I can take the receipt for the general store if Quell wants to take a mercenary contract.
You don't want any Fibbit? They're quite good.
I just realized I can't. It's, I've, I can't. It's bad.
More for me then.
Okay.
Ursula has finished resetting the bookshelf and putting all of her family books back. And she says, I can go get you a proper snack from the kitchen. There might still be something in there.
Do you have pie?
I can just go do that for you. I don't think there's pie here, honey, but I'm sure there's something or other. Let me go see what I can rustle up while y'all look at the rest of those books, okay? And she's going to bustle out of the room and head toward the kitchen.
Do you think it's okay for her to go by herself?
I don't know. She's stronger than me, and you guys would let me go off by myself.
Would we though?
I don't know.
Well,
the thing is, I never want to be by myself, so I guess we'll never know the answer.
I don't think Devin saw anything magical that direction. There is a magical strength downstairs, and then it was some in this room. So Devin's not too terribly worried about that.
You did not see anything in the kitchen. You guys came through the kitchen on your way through. It was the first room by the back door, and it was also semi-trashed, but yeah.
You said there was a carpet bag?
Yes. There's a big carpet bag that sort of like has a big metal clasp.
Yeah.
It's not locked, but it is closed.
Pretty much, yeah. So let's I guess I'll open, like standing like in the middle of the room, I'll open the carpet bag, I guess.
Okay. It's full of the professor's personal effects of various kinds.
I feel bad.
There's a couple of scarves in there, some pocket squares, and an extra pair of shoes. Like they're like slippers, like house slippers.
House shoes.
Yeah. There's a magnifying crystal for reading to help with someone who might have poor eyesight. There are some blank notebooks in there that are similar to the ones that the composition books on the shelves. These ones are blank. They're quite fine. They're finely made. They look like they have like maybe tarantula skin parchment. And there's a really beautiful fountain pen carved of lapis lazuli that you pull out, and a little inkwell of beautiful purple ink.
Okay, and which one of these was magical? Like, what am I pulling out? The pen is magical. Okay.
Fibbit, who was like kind of looking over Devin's shoulder as she was doing this, looks at
I'm really tall. Are you on my shoulder?
Fibbit
climbed up.
Yeah, no, Fibbit, like, no, probably not. Probably like leaned over next to you and is now peering over your shoulder. Yeah.
My elbow.
Yeah, and as you're like looking at something else, Fibbit's like little hand sneaks out and like slowly slides away those slippers.
They're very fluffy.
Yeah, they look very fluffy and comfortable. Fibbit loves that. Those are all the things Fibbit loves.
They're made out of like silk. They've got like silkworm fluff, raw silkworm fluff on the inside.
Okay. I don't have identify, so not at the moment. So I'm gonna hold the ink pen, and I guess the inkwell as well, just in case, they go together. And I'll just look at the party and say, well, this bag was full of personal effects, notebooks, magnifying glass, and this pen. And I'll kind of like put it in the light and like roll it a little bit and say,
Maybe we could
magical.
maybe we could give it to Mick, and he would be the one that would tell us what it is. Maybe I
Alright,
could do that for you as a service.
I mean, it's going to take forever to get back to the mainland.
Yeah, assuming we don't die horribly fiery deaths,
Right.
bathed in light.
I might be able to do this, but not now. I do not have that spell prepared. Cool.
Well, it's better because I think Mick has more experience identifying stuff, so it's probably a good idea for us to do it with him. You
I'll
know.
just put them in my pouch
Okay.
for
Might
now.
as well grab what you want out of there. Professor Scarab's not going to need it anymore.
No.
And Alan's going to kind of just look at the floor and see if they notice, like, are there any footprints or, like, tracks or anything like that? And,
Yeah.
like, she'll kind of head towards the doorway and kind of be in between so she can keep an eye out on Tessie. No. Is Tessie her
Ursula.
name? Ursula.
Yeah, for
Sorry.
sure. Go ahead and make me a survival check.
Okay. Not 20, so 24.
Ooh,
Ooh.
damn!
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Incredible. 24. All right. What does Ahlin see? You apply your big beautiful eyes to examining the floor, examining the floorboards, the rug, the way that the pile on the rug maybe changes when somebody stepped on it. And you start to see some patterns in looks like there were a couple of maybe different people or people wearing different footwear in this room. You see crouching down and examining up close, you see there are a few little tufts of silkworm fluff from the house slippers here and there, including a couple under the broken desk. There's a glass tumbler, like a drinking glass, by the messenger bag that has some smudged, dirty fingerprints on it. There are quite a few prints, very light on the floor, but you can see them in the dust, that are made by boots, larger than you would see a goblin wearing. There are what look like two different sets of boot prints, one slightly larger than the other, but both of them larger than a goblin's feet. They have the smaller set has a little bit of a heel. You can see in the rug, the wool rug, that the heel has imprinted a little more heavily in the slightly smaller set of footprints, indicating that that one has a heel on the boot. And they're concentrated, those prints are concentrated in the rug around the intact desk that has all of the arcane sigils on it. In the dust underneath the antique desk is evidence of a scuffle. With a natural 20, you start to envision what might have happened here. Something violent happened here. Obviously, you know that. There's blood everywhere. But both of the boot prints were involved. Somebody was subdued. Looks like this is where the little fluffs of silk end.
What a sad way to go. He was probably getting ready for bed. And then Alan will just look into the kitchen.
That was his first mistake, was ever sleeping.
You sleep
You
a
rolled a
lot.
natural 20. I'm gonna give you one more thing.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I just can't resist. It's so good. You've seen, because it's Ahlin, you've seen boot prints like this before. There are standard issue boots given out to students at Alula University of Celestia that you've seen the students wearing around. They often have sort of matching sets of boots. They're given robes and boots. And these footprints look a lot like what you've seen at the university.
They, that would make sense. But why would a student be here?
Because they
There's
killed them.
boots. There's boots here that match the students that Professor Scarab at the university he worked at.
Does he have an assistant?
Does he have an assistant, DM? Does Ahlin know that information? I don't think Ahlin didn't know Professor Scarab that
No,
well.
she did not. She had seen him around, but she didn't know him. Certainly, professors do have assistants. That may be a question for Ursula, who's out making clumping sounds around the kitchen.
I read a book one time about a professor that was having that was kissing their teaching assistant, and then but he was married, so she killed him. So it could be that. I think that's what that was.
Maybe.
Mhm.
Let's go ask Ursula.
Oh, okay. I feel like you guys don't take the things I say very seriously.
You've been quite correct on a lot of your assumptions, Bibbit. So I take that as it is. And
you
then
hear Ursula actually coming back down the hall. She's clumping with her big old bare paws. Back down the hall, there's some creaky floorboards, and she barges in. She's created best she could do like a graze board, like a big tray of just like crackers and beetle cheese and like greens that like may or may not have like just been foraged from the bushes right outside the back door. There's some kind of old looking fruit. It's real borderline fruit. It's been here for a while. Some like gooseberries, like green, kind of vaguely unappetizing looking berries, and some stale-ish bread. But it was the best she could do. She puts it down on the she's just not sure what to do. She starts to put it down on the big desk with the scorch marks on it and kind of turns in little circles. She's totally muddying up the boot prints. She's turning little circles.
oh,
I don't know where. I don't want to interrupt anything, but I brought you some snacks for while you're researching. I'll just put these here. She puts them directly in the middle of the floor.
thank you, Ursula.
Oh, you're welcome, honey.
Did the professor have any people that came to visit him? Do you know if he had maybe an assistant at all?
No, he never traveled with anybody before. He's always a loner. I don't think he had anybody he worked with in particular. Kind of a strange guy. I mean, very nice, but a little odd, you know. But he was very sort of sensitive. Remember I mentioned he had those big ears, and he sort of he didn't like to be around a lot of people or like a lot of talk. He could talk and then you sit and listen to him, which is a whole different story, but he didn't like a lot of chatter himself. So I don't recall him ever mentioning an assistant. No. She's like gnawing on the butt of a piece of like French bread. It's clearly been there for days.
Yeah, Pivot is going to do a little snip over of this food. Oh. Does it smell like it will make him sick?
Some of it might. The berries, the gooseberries look okay. They're not your favorite kind of berries, but they're, they still are fruit that came off a bush.
Pivot will then take all of the gooseberries into their hand and start.
Well, they like
on
those. All right, you You enjoy those.
Thank you. I will.
Miss Ursula, do you know if there was any bad blood between Professor Scarab and anyone?
I
Perhaps
wouldn't
at
see
the
why.
university?
That would surprise me. Just a real inoffensive sort of fellow. Quiet, polite for the most part.
I
That
am
would
polite.
surprise me. Very smart, but quiet.
Those
It's a real shame, you know. I don't know why somebody would do such a thing. Other than, I don't know. She's
quiet,
looking real sad.
quiet and polite and smart. Those sound like more of the characteristics of a murderer rather than a person who was murdered. Are we sure we are talking about the same guy?
Well, now I wouldn't speak ill of the dead in quite that way. That seems like a little far. I know you catastrophize a lot, but um, I couldn't see him hurting. Well, maybe a fly or two, but that's about it.
Okay. Hmm. That's exactly what a murderer will want you to think.
Did you pick up all the magic stuff in here? I don't want anything funny like laying around and, you know.
Hi. Hi.
I don't know who's still holding the stack of like books. There were
But
a couple of magical books in there as well.
um.
Oh,
Oh.
I thought you said that was the gate spell and the dimension door spell was those books, I thought.
I'll enforce those over to Fibbit.
Yep. Fibbit is
Okay,
now
yeah.
holding all of. Fibbit is holding all the special books.
There is also, with those, there are two textbooks. One of them is a primer of the elemental planes, and one of them is a history of planar travel. And they are both very dog-eared and well-loved. The spine's broken in a couple places. And those two had been kicked under the desk, Ahlin, when you were gathering everything up. Do you want to take a look inside those and get a little more information about what Professor would have studied?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fibbit will also like. Now that Fibbit's like looked through all the notebooks, they will start flipping through the textbooks too.
Okay. The first one, the primer on the elemental planes, just sort of gives an overview of the structure of the planes in this world. I don't think any of you would have intimate knowledge of that offhand. Ahlin, you might be the most likely to because you are somewhat familiar with elemental magics and stuff like that from where you grew up. But for those watching, Arkinia uses the Great Wheel cosmology and the what's it called? It's called. Yeah, Great Wheel cosmology without the outer planes. So primarily, all of the different planes are based in elements. There are quite a few of them. There's a positive energy plane and a negative energy plane. There are elemental planes for fire, air, water, and earth, which you all would know about. There are also elemental planes for other things, for smoke, for magma, for ice. Where the elemental planes all overlap with each other, there are new planes sometimes created. Negative planes, the negative energy planes include vacuum, the vacuum plane, the ash plane, the dust plane. And there is a section on the radiant plane, as well as in the same section, the quasi-elemental plane of lightning, minerals, and steam. And I can send you guys all this list at after maybe when we go on break.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there's quite a few of them. The spine is broken on this book in the section for the radiant plane.
Someone.
Ye-
Oh, sorry.
oh no, go ahead.
Oh, Vivid was just saying someone liked looking at the Radiant plane a lot. And that's all I wanted to say.
If we have more questions on this, I could reach out to my wife and see if she knows anything.
You have a wife? Oh. Okay. She's not afraid of you eating her?
I would never eat her. Well, maybe I would.
God! Fibbit, you can see Fibbit's like face turn red under his fur, and then he immediately goes right back into the book.
The second book, The History of Planar Travel, this one's also heavily dog-eared. And Fibbit, you would notice because you were looking at the desktop, as you're flipping through that, you see there's a section with a lot of notes in it that match the writing that you found on the desktop.
Let me ask, so it's dog-eared and notes. Are all of the notes in this new handwriting, or are there some notes that are also Professor Scarab's handwriting?
All of the notes are in the new handwriting.
This one belonged to the bad guy.
It does have, sorry, I'm the worst. It does have a book plate. These have book plates in them,
okay.
identifying them as the professors.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to read you a little section of that book because, Fibbit, you're starting to see some things that seem like they might be useful. Mm-hmm. The introduction in the history of planar travel begins, or the introduction to the section about gateways. Only a spellcaster at the highest level of proficiency can safely create a gate to another plane of existence. In Arkinia, but a handful of these extraordinarily learned magical practitioners exist. They serve in the respected academic institutions of the continent's major cities. Ahlan, you're aware that the Dean Whiskers at Alyul University, is a very, very high-level practitioner along those lines. It continues, an unknown number of elven mages capable of such castings may also dwell in Arkinia's northernmost forests. But of course, this lowly Yuan Ti author cannot be privy to such racially exclusive knowledge. The chapter that is heavily marked up is titled A Fool's Gateway. It reads, as high-level spellcasting is by nature a tedious endeavor requiring decades of study, a lazy fool might be tempted to seek another way to breach the gap between the planes. Indeed, on the winter solstice of the year 537, one such fool believed he could accomplish this by harnessing the great powers of life and death. This low-level sorcerer, clearly insufficiently supervised, wished to create a portal to the para-elemental plane of smoke. He was not able to channel sufficient arcane power on his own, so he tried to make up the difference by concentrating the energy of a creature's life force, in this case by draining his own blood. Crucially, however, he misjudged what he was physically able to sacrifice. He was found dead in a pool of crimson, the smoking remains of 6 arcane circles, the last testament to his folly. There is a diagram there that shows what was found of the sorcerer's spell circles. It looks very similar to the ones on the desk and the ones down at the dock, or at the on the deck.
So it sounds like they used a shortcut, but, you know, with Professor Scarab. So I guess, does that mean, I guess that means that the person we're dealing with is not an all-powerful sorcerer like, the people that should be able to open gates so that, it'll be a lot easier to, make them stop killing people. Hopefully.
Devin, looking over Fibbit's shoulder, you read the last paragraph, and it says, "Had this foolish dreamer succeeded, such a gateway might have allowed elemental creatures beyond his understanding to barge through and wreak havoc in our peaceful lands. Worse, the surge in arcane power unleashed by such a breach could have created irreparable damage to the ley lines that anchor Arkinia's divine magic." And this chapter is full of notes written by this unknown hand. Recreations of the little circles in the margins, equations, mathematical equations, drawings of something that looks like a tuning fork.
Did you all read this aloud? Okay.
I would have, yeah. I would have read that last line, especially about ley lines, and went, shite.
Does it mention how to close it?
Fibbit, search two.
I don't know. Vivid like flips through the book, like goes into the index.
Yeah. You find there's a couple different sections that address the closing of gates. The primary section around the gate spell actually references the magical book, which looks like a similar volume from the same set. The book actually is on the gate spell. That information had to be self-contained in another volume, and that is like beyond your understanding. But the section about the chapter on a fool's gateway basically describes that such it would be a very brief breach between the planes, a surge in power, created by this approach. So it would not last. It would be brief. You could perhaps use that moment to enter another plane or pull something through, but it's not a lasting effect the way a very advanced practitioner of magic could create through a gate spell.
Well, and also they did this twice, I think, right? Because this looks similar to because this thing looks similar to the one we found on the dock when we were fighting for our lives. So, do you think Ushi was the second person they murdered?
Potentially. I'm just curious as to if this is a potential student and they mention this person. Is this something that's going to make them powerful? Is this something? What's the goal here? Why would they do something like this?
I don't know. Maybe there's other clues to look at.
True. Maybe there's something in one of the books about the radiant plane that says maybe there's something in there that they're trying to get or bring out, potentially.
Was there also a downstairs that you mentioned, or did I mishear that?
I have it in my notes,
Yeah.
unless the DM has changed some things up. But I do have in my notes that there was something magical downstairs that we have not had a chance to glance at yet.
Ursula finishes up the butt end of the bread loaf that she was chewing very loudly and heaves a big sigh at the mentions of the sacrifice required for these kinds of rituals. And she says, I'm going to need, I think, a glass of wine. It's never too early to start. I'm going to go grab some. I think we've got some rosé in the wine cellar. So,
Ursula, let's go with you for that. There's something downstairs, and I'd rather you not go alone.
I want to go too.
I'll wait upstairs and make sure no one comes in through the door.
Good. Okay.
I'll follow.
Yeah, I'm gonna go downstairs first because I don't want Ursula to die.
Before we go downstairs, would we be able to do a quick break? Because we're at about.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, that would be great. I got
All
it.
right.
Cool.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
We'll see everybody back here in, what do we want to do, 10, 15?
Yep.
What's our preference?
Yeah, 15. So let's get back at 5:30 because it's 5:17 right now.
Okay.
So about 5:30.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good. We'll see you all then.
We'll see
Bye.
you soon. Bye. everybody. We're back.
Welcome back. We're Queerby Dragons, and you are watching Arkinia, the Elements of Surprise. Chris, you want to tell people about stuff? My darling, you're on mute again.
I hit the button!
Damn you, button!
Welcome to Queerby Dragons. Catch us every other Sunday live on Twitch or catch up on our YouTube and follow us. Give us a follow on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok at Queerby Dragons, or all three if you have some extra space.
Oh, now I muted myself. Way to go, Meta. Okay, so you guys have taken a close look through the study of Professor Scarab. And Ursula, your bear folk friend, wanted a glass of wine, which she said could be found in the cellar beneath. And remind me, who is heading, what is everybody doing right now?
I think
Everyone.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Everybody except for Quell is heading downstairs. Yeah. Quell is gonna stay up.
Guard upstairs.
Yeah.
Make sure no one tries to sneak in. Also, I don't feel like going downstairs in a crowded little area, so thanks.
Need space to stretch your wings. Where are you posting up?
I am posting probably near the trigger slider, but still kind of keeping an eye away to like down the hall, but pretty much where our entry was.
Okay. Well, Ursula clumps down the hallway and opens a door that leads down a small flight of stairs. Well, small by bear terms. There's plenty of room for you guys to pass through. And she heads down. There's a little short hallway down at the bottom of the stairs where the basement area is. There's a few doors, one of which is a very heavy oaken door that looks like it might have been made out of old wine barrels. It's got like those strips of metal like they put around barrels. It's like very aesthetic. There's a couple more live, laugh, love signs down here. Mm-hmm. And she gets a ring of keys out of her off her belt and starts shuffling through to find the right one for the cellar door. My daddy kept his wine collection down here. He was a bit of a connoisseur, and I keep this locked because, I love my guests, but I don't want them getting into the good stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, but we're among friends, so that's what we're going to do right now. She finds the correct key and turns the lock, and the door won't budge. And she fiddles with it, tries a different key, tries to turn the lock. No, that first one was the right key. She puts the original key in again, turns it. It turns, but when she leans on it, the door won't budge. She's like, I don't know why this won't.
Okay.
Is it stuck or?
Can I, so I used my Furbolg situation. Can I use one of my spell slots and cast Detect Magic this time? Because I'm assuming we spent so much time upstairs that Detect Magic would have dropped.
Yeah. You guys spent easily a half an hour, maybe more like an hour.
Yeah. So can I use Detect Magic and cast it again to see if there's like maybe something on the door or something behind the door?
Sure. You cast Detect Magic again, and as the spell completes and your inner eye sort of sees a map of the place, you see the upstairs, you know where the study is and each of the magical objects that were there. You've added a couple to your own collection, and now you're facing the door that you remember had a magical signature before, and it is powerful. There's not only one or two things in here. There's like 10 or 12 things that are magical in here.
In there?
And
Is it the door itself?
behind the door, within the room, beyond the door. And as you like concentrate on it and try to pick out all of the different ones, Ursula like takes a few steps back, gets a running start, and slams her shoulder into the cellar door and just busts it open. There's a crash. Quell, you hear this, the whole house shakes. Crash! She smashes through. The room beyond is dark, and she barrels with the momentum into the darkness. All right, I did it. And then there's a low rumbling sound, and her voice changes from the darkness, gets higher. I did it. Wait, hold on a second. Hold on now. What are you doing? And cuts off.
Oh no, can I cast light on I don't know, I gotta have something in my pouch, a ration, and chuck it in the room.
Sure. You scramble for something in your pouch. You find like a seaweed snack and pull it out, quickly cast light on it, and chuck it into the room. The light illuminates the doorway. You can see that there are wine bottles and things on shelves directly beyond the doorway. And then the light stops in midair as if it's hit something and falls to the ground. What's the radius on light?
20, hold on, let me double check. 20-foot radius is dim. Oh, wait. Object sheds bright light, 20-foot radius, and then an additional 20 feet for dim.
Okay. That is enough to at least somewhat illuminate the entire cellar.
Okay.
Your ration hit an invisible wall of some kind. That's the only explanation you can have, or it was stopped in midair by something. And as you look beyond, you see Ursula has fallen over in the center of the room. She is smaller. She's about half the size that she should be. And she's being trussed up in ropes by Kina, the mercenary that you fought and tortured. Beyond Kina, you see two figures. There is a gateway, what you can only describe as some kind of gateway or portal, set into the cellar wall, glowing with a bright blue energy. And in it, or just in front of it, are two figures. They look very similar. They have very similar facial structures. You see two white-haired people. One of them is taller than the other one. The taller one, who is sort of a masculine shape, masculine figure, broad shoulders, shoulder-length white hair, has sort of tan skin with an olive undertone and gray-blue eyes. They're sporting a set of Ahlin, you recognize the university robes from the University of Celestia, left unbuttoned over tight leather pants. Woo! What do we get?
We got a new follower. Thank you so much for following us.
Thank you.
Left unbuttoned over tight leather pants and a sheer blouse that shows off their muscles. A longsword is hanging at their side. The slightly smaller figure, very, very similar facial structure and the same skin tone, that sort of tan olive skin tone, stands supervising Kina as she trusses up Ursula. this woman, as you get a good look at them, they're not that old. Neither of these two are old. In fact, Kina is older than them by far. They're maybe 16 or 17 years old, these two. The girl has lean muscles. She has long white hair that she has in a very high ponytail, reaches down to the small of her back. Her eyes are pink, like an unsettling pink, almost pupilless. And she's wearing a like a wine red tunic and a black leggings. She has thigh-high boots laced up. Her twin is wearing the university distributed boots that you recognized Ahlin the footprints of. The girl has daggers in her belt and a whip at her side. She looks up and sees you as you enter.
Yep.
Rox,
I'm going in.
You can't be doing this to us. You know we're all gay.
You're so
So
gay.
gay. So gay for my characters.
Buddy. All right.
What are you doing to it? Okay, yeah, I'm going in there.
You step forward and you are physically stopped. There's a barrier in between you and them.
Like the wall? Like I can't get into the room, or I can't get into...
You get a few steps into the room before you hit exactly where your light object was stopped.
Do I get a feeling? Well, I guess Fibbit, like after seeing Devin stop, Fibbit will reach over to touch this barrier. I guess does I can probably do an Arcana check for this, as well. But does this feel like just a physical barrier or a physical and metaphysical barrier? Like, would I be able to cast a spell through this barrier?
How would you like? Would you like to examine it? Would you like to attempt casting a spell?
Actually, yes. You know what? Well, yeah, I would like to attempt to cast Minor Illusion to have like a copy of Fibbit appear on the other side of the barrier.
Okay. You go to cast the spell and you cannot push it past the barrier. You swivel slightly and try again and try again. That entire side of the room is walled off. The twins are regarding all of you, the three of you, as Kina finishes up her work. And the masculine one says, well, I suppose this would be the point at which I say, oh, look, we have company. Or like, whatever. And the girl says, did you have to? Is that like, did you have to say it that way? Let's finish up in here and get out of here before these assholes get a better look at us.
Oh, heck no. What can I cast? I need to cast something. Make
a choice quick.
Yeah. Fibbit says, company implies friendly, and I don't think any of us are friendly here.
I'm not.
Awesome. Ursula is making squeaking noises, like
I know,
scared. Small Ursula is making scared squeaking noises.
I know this won't.
And yeah. Go ahead.
I know this won't work. But I'm going to try it anyway. I would like to attempt to cast Hold Person on the lady twin.
There you go.
Okay.
Or on the feminine twin, I'm sorry.
You expend the spell and nothing happens. It is impossible to get past that barrier. Kina is now wrapping rope around Ursula's muzzle and she's going,
Can't push past it at all.
Cannot push past it at all.
We can't cast anything past it, as we've noticed. What if I was invisible? Would that work? Can I try that? I'm going to try it.
Look at each other.
I'm going to try it. I'm going
to cast.
I'm going to do Hidden Step, which is a Furbolg trait. I'm just gonna go invisible, and it's only like 10 seconds, 6 seconds, and I'm gonna see if I can walk through the barrier invisible.
Okay, I'm going to double check what kind of effect this has. Magically invisible. Okay. You disappear.
Yep.
The girl is got her eyes trained on the spot where you went.
Yeah.
And you approach the barrier, and you are not able to pass through it.
Me.
Tina has finished tying up Ursula at this point. She's on the ground with all 4 of her paws bound, her muzzle's entirely bound. She looks small and helpless and scared.
Wait.
I'm gonna. No, go ahead.
Vivid says, wait, don't do that. You shouldn't do that. It's a bad idea for you guys. It's very... Fibbit looks at Ahlin kind of helplessly.
The masculine figure says to Kina, "Are you done yet? Because I'd really like to get out of here."
I don't have anything to
Arlen's gonna book it up to where Quell was and start yelling, They're taking Ursula.
Ursula. Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. Just
Ooh,
Tessie's
can
on
I-
the brain.
Can I take my... Oh, God. Okay. This is a shot in the fucking dark. Can I take my mace and try to wham at whatever this is? If magic can't go through it, maybe my mace can. I don't know.
Yeah, you slam it
trying
into the
everything.
barrier over and
Yep.
over and over again.
Nope.
Go ahead and make me an Arcana check, Fibbit and Devin.
I've been
I'm
at
also
like the top
yelling.
of the stairwell, so I'm just like peering over.
Okay, you're hearing yelling. Devin is yelling.
I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. Like, I'm upset. I don't know what else to do. I'm like frustrated.
Just
and I want
just
Ursula to
slamming your
know that-
weapon into the.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah. I want her to know we're trying. We're not letting them take her.
Okay, I'm gonna use my second. I got an 11, but I'm gonna use my second Pact of the Talisman thing to
Okay,
use.
how many uses?
I get 2. This is my last one.
Ooh, okay.
Fuck. Yeah, that's a 12.
Can I also, as I'm like running back up towards Quell, be like, "You got this, Fibbit," and I'll use one of my bardic inspirations, so you can add a 1d6 to that.
Bitchin'. Okay, so we're at 11, 12, 14. That's my number for
14.
this. That 14 is my number for this session.
I got a 16, which is also the number of my for this session. Like,
It is. Yeah, you got a 16 earlier as well. Devin, you've heard of magic like this that will not let anything pass through it. And there is nothing that you can think of that you are capable of that will help.
Fibbit.
Yes, Fibbit.
Fibbit says, did you know that elves know a lot about planes? Did you know that? Did you read that in one of the textbook? It says that elves are very powerful and very old, and they know lots about traveling planes safely and efficiently. Did you know that? Did you read that part?
Fibbit, because I hadn't quite addressed your Arcana check as well, which I want to make sure we do. That's okay. No, but that we'll get to this in just a second because that's a wonderful thing to say. You put your paw up against the wall of force, and as you concentrate and try to gain some piece of understanding of what this is from the library of knowledge that you have access to, you hear that chuckle in your mind again. A wall of force. Impressive. As you say that about elves, the female twin is ignoring you. She and Kina are now dragging Ursula, who still looks heavy but not nearly as heavy, towards the gateway. And the masculine twin sort of shifts his weight onto his other foot and regards you. Is that like supposed to Intimidate me?
No.
What are we going for here?
No, what that.
All right.
I know elves.
I'll give you a second. What do you want? What do you want to say to me, little rabbit?
I know elves. I know. I came here from the north where the elves are, and I know lots of stuff from them. And um, I bet, and I have. Fibit points to their talisman. I have access to that big old wealth of knowledge. Don't take.
Make a persuasion check.
Okay.
With disadvantage. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Shit. All right.
It's a tough sell.
Yeah.
In this meantime, can I also slide down the stairs?
Yeah.
I'm assuming I can't see them from like the top of the stairwell. Like there's not a line of sight.
You'd have to come. Yeah, you come down the stairwell and into that small hallway where the cellar door is wide open, and you can hear voices coming from there.
Wait. Visibly sweating. Hearing this, I'm gonna just slide down the stairs because I don't trust myself to actually like walk down the stairs. So slide, and then essentially if I can see anything, cast Hunter's Mark on Ursula. Yeah,
you sort of like use your wings to sort of like guide you as you slide down the stairs and around the corner, reaching out with both your mind and your hand. You cast Hunter's Mark, and you see that there is some kind of force in between you and these people, which now you can see all three of them, as well as Ursula. Ursula is being dragged by two women towards this glowing gateway at the back of the room, but your Hunter's Mark does not find purchase.
And do I have... Oh, that's a melee thing. Okay. Yeah. I was gonna try to throw something at it, but
yeah, you can go ahead and try. I will tell you now, whatever you throw at it will not pierce it. You try. If you have a knife or if you have a slingshot or anything like that. It's feeling really futile.
Okay.
Fibbit, what did you roll?
I got an 11. I'm not rolling
persuasion?
very good today. Yeah.
Okay.
I get.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Fibbit says, yeah, I belong to the elves, and I could, if you take me instead of Ursula, I could tell you stuff, and I can access their knowledge, and it'll make it easier and less bloody to summon your gates.
The masculine twin steps toward you. They swipe a bottle of wine off the wall and, flipping their sword deftly in one hand, crack the cork out of the top of it and drink.
That's so cool.
A couple swigs and walk right up to the barrier, right up to where you are, Fibbit, to stand in front of you.
Fibbit tries to kind of stand up a little bit straight, but their ears are down.
I'm next to Fibbit. I swear to God.
Listen, I've got to respect your moxie, I guess you could say, but dude, there's nothing you could teach me that I don't already know. And holding eye contact with you, he sets the bottle down on the floor right in front of where the wall of force is, lingers on your eyes for just a second, and turns around. Ursula is now partially dragged through the gateway. The two women have wrapped their fingers into the rope on either side of her and are bodily pulling her through. Kina disappears. You watch as Ursula's body disappears as well. The last thing that goes through the gate is her head, and her little petite size bear head just looks pleadingly at you, Quell, as she goes, disappears into the blue light. The girl twin steps back in, nods at her brother, steps back through. He turns around, flipping his longsword in his hand again, and reaches up. The gateway at the back of the room is constructed of the stones of the cellar walls, but there are 4 particular glowing objects, almost like set in or adhered to the stone, that form the corners of the gateway. He flips his longsword around, with the butt end of it, smashes one of those objects, and the gateway starts to crackle and fizzle. He looks back at you, steps through, and the gateway goes out. The wall of force drops. You're alone. And that's where we're going to end today's session.
Man, fuck you.
Yeah, seriously.
What the shit?
Yeah.
Ursula!
This was very, I mean, I don't mean like fuck you, but this is very good and you're a very talented Rox, but also like, fuck you.
Honestly, that's like one of the best responses I can get.
Yeah, no, I'm very upset about Ursula.
Me too. How do we
Thanks
get
everybody
her
for
back?
joining us.
Now, welcome to Quirby Dragons. Thanks for
We're
watching the
Queer
show.
Dragons. We have fun here. Nothing bad ever happens in the idyllic land of Arkinia, that is populated by cute bunnies and squirrels and bears.
I mean, you murdered a squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't put it past you to murder our bear friend. How rude of
I
you.
murdered?
We didn't see who
I
get
murdered a
squirrel.
You murdered a squirrel.
Yeah, you sure
Murdered a
did,
squirrel.
actually.
With
I
a
did.
giant whelk. You murdered
Yeah.
a squirrel with a whelk.
All right. The squirrel was murdered before that, but I don't see. Listen, I feel like, there's. I just want to point out that I don't see any tears being shed for a lovely goblin man.
I'm
because
also sad about the goblin man,
I'm
but I
sad
didn't get
about
to
the
meet
goblin.
he
him.
was very nice
Nor-
and very smart.
Nor have I met anybody related to him, married to him. That's why I feel bad for the squirrel.
Also-
we met his crying wife.
Tessie.
Very nice.
Tessie.
Very nice, very quiet, very smart is are 3 adjectives people use to describe serial killers all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true.
So
Thanks everybody for joining
Why
us.
did we get Ursula back?
I don't know, dude. Good luck with that.
yeah.
So we are Queer Bee Dragons. Chris, you want to tell people the stuff about things?
Unmute
I-
yourself.
I successfully unmuted myself was going to be the first line of this. Thank you for joining us for Queer Bee Dragons. Catch us every other Sunday live on Twitch or catch up on our YouTube and give us a follow on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok at Queer Bee Dragons. Thank you.
Great. Thanks everybody for joining us. Come back next time. Should be 2 Sundays from now. When our party tries to figure out what the fuck to do about that.
Mm-hmm.
We love you all.
Yeah. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.